I know, I can tell by your faces you're wondering, what in the world does a girl like this know about history? Especially cultural history. Yeah, I can see it in your faces. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you, throughout history, it's been ladies in my profession, the world's oldest profession, as they say, that have been the confidants to kings and paupers alike. Now, what these gentlemen didn't tell their wives and their girlfriends, they told us, and we listened, and we learned, and we passed on their stories. That's why we call it his story. You just getting that now? There were thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of men, and not too many women. About 100 years ago, it was probably about one woman, that would be me, to about 200 men sometimes. I don't mind those odds too much. They have a saying up here in Alaska, it's kind of their motto, where the odds are good, but the goods are odd. Now that has to do with their fears, their hopes, their beliefs. But they make art that symbolizes their culture. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow you have the opportunity to see the completely unique art style of the native Alaskan Indians. This is really important, folks. Now, it was this tribe from North America that created the word. I'm going to teach it to you. O-do-dam. Let me hear it. O-do-dam. Now, you walk into the Totem Heritage Center tomorrow and you say, I would like to see some of your O-do-dams. They're going to give you the keys to the museum, because only the scientists know that word, O-do-dam. Now, what an O-do-dam is it's something that is created to protect a family, a clan, or a person, and it tells a story. So think of it as being a great big guardian angel that tells a story. And what a story they tell. And they put in a cannery right smack on top of the creek. And that ended it for everybody. The punches and the salmon started to fly, big time. And it took the Supreme Court and the mayor, let's see if I can get him, there he is, Mr. Mike Martin. He was the very first mayor of Ketchikan. It took him a couple of years to straighten the whole thing out, and they must have done a good job. Because, ladies and gentlemen, for the next 40 years, Ketchikan was the canning capital in the world. It wasn't able to handle as much until 1940. The United States government came in and offered 2 50-year leases to anybody that would come in and open up a paper and pulp mill. And boy, did they come for 50 years. Tens of thousands of men. This was year-round work. This wasn't seasonal. This wasn't like fishing. They were here working year-round. Are you awake? I got something real important to tell you. Sit up real straight, take a deep breath. Out of all these industries that are going on up here, whether it was mining or marble or fishing or timber, all these industries with all these tens of thousands of men coming up here, 80 cents of every single dollar that was made up here in Ketchikan was spent on Creek Street. 80 cents. Oh yeah, I can hear the light bulbs turning on here. Slow but steady, they're coming along just fine. Now, how did this all happen? You know what? I think these people just like to spit. Remember that word? Alaskan. Let me hear you say it. Alaskan. That old Tlingit word. It's actually the Aleut word, the oldest word there is for Alaska. Here's another one for you folks. I need to teach you how to say this word so that you sound intelligent when you're out there in Skagway. Oh, I'm hearing a lot of you give it a shot. Let me hear what you think it sounds like.
Shahagwe.
Shahagwe.
Oh, that was pretty good. Gentlemen, I am telling you, it will be windy tomorrow. Really windy. If you have small children, you want to make sure that they're wearing really heavy shoes. I can't tell you the number of times that we see little kids just blowing down the dock. You want to hold on to those little ones when they get out there in that wind. And stand in the street, close your eyes, take a deep breath, take yourself back 100 years, and realize that you are standing in the hellhole of the United States. The most dangerous city in all of the United States, filled with every flim-flam, con man, murderer ever. And why were they there? For one reason and one reason only: to get the gold. And if you were just on the verge of losing your home, if you had just a little bit of money left, and you heard, and no prospects, absolutely no prospects for another job, and you heard that if you could just get up to Alaska, you had the opportunity to make millions of dollars, would you do it? Let's just say that you're going to have to make 22 trips to carry that 2,200 pounds. Are you going to make it all the way up over the top and down the back? No, you're not. Maybe you're going to only make it 3 or 4 miles in 2 days with all that gear. And then you're going to drop that load, and then you've got to come back down and get another load. Who's watching your load up here? Who's stopping that one from getting stolen? And what about all your gear down here? Can I make this plain? This was a lawless group. Unless your stuff was protected and protected well, it would not be there. It was a race to get to the gold, and anybody would do anything to get there as fast as they could. It was attached to this hole, and that money would rattle on down that copper pipe down to the bar below. Now, the bartender was downstairs serving up the drinks, and on the back of the bar, there were 10 little dollies. And those girls, those little dollies, looked quite a bit like the girls that were upstairs. What would happen is, if a girl was busy, the bartender would lay that little dolly down on her back. And then, after she sent the money down the tube, it would go into her little personal cash register. The bartender would hear it, and he would sit the little dolly back up again. And that would mean that she was ready for her next customer. Soapy is drunk as a skunk. He's had a very bad day and he's been drinking all day. But he picks up his rifle and he says, "All right, I'll go down there." He gets down to the warehouse, and there are 4 men blocking the entrance to the warehouse. He pushes the first 3 out of the way, and he gets to the last one, and that's Frank Reed. He says, "Get out of my way, Frank Reed." Frank says, "I am not moving. You are not getting in here." So in the world. It took 26 months, only 26 months, to blast 110 miles worth of track through some of the most horrific territory in Alaska. It took 450 tons of dynamite, tens of thousands of workers, and $10 million to put in this railroad in 26 months. And what I want, folks, really and truly, is I hope that you'll come back. Come see me when I'm going to do my show in Skagway in a couple of days. I want you to tell me what it is that you saw out there in Ketchikan. I'm going to leave the light on for you, absolutely. Now, get yourselves up, get on over there to the Humpback Whale Show. Thank you so very much for joining me today, folks.